Okay, so welcome to Explanations of Forgetting. There's two of these. The first one is interference. Okay, so what we're going to learn with this is two types of interference, proactive and retroactive, and we'll look at both. You don't need to worry about writing that down now. And you'll also have an understanding of how effects of similar information have on memory. So the main thing to get clear here is that, as much as we'd love to believe it, our memories are not perfect, and we make mistakes and we get things muddled, and as much as we believe ourselves and we think we're right, a lot of the time we can be proven wrong. And so a lot of psychologists have spent time trying to look into this. The same as why we remember things, we also need to understand why we forget things. It's all AO1 this lesson. Okay, so the first one, interference, which occurs when different pieces of information conflict with each other, resulting in memories being distorted or forgotten. I'll give you some examples as and when we get to them, but it's mainly used for long-term memory. So as always, I've highlighted the keywords for you, that you definitely need to get down. If you want to write the whole slide, that's up to you. But it's interference, and it's when things conflict, interfere, obviously, with each other. And it's mainly in the long-term memory. Once information is in the long-term memory, as we know this, it's considered permanent. So most forgetting is caused by not being able to locate the information through though it is available. Okay, so we're saying it's there, we just can't find it, we can't locate it, and that idea of really sitting there and trying to remember things. Okay, so the first one, proactive interference. This occurs when an older memory interferes with a newer memory. For example, if you've recently just got a new boyfriend or girlfriend, be sure not to call them a previous boyfriend or girlfriend's name. Okay, and I don't know if this has happened to you or not, but it's not your fault if you did get in trouble for it, or maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend did it. It's a type of interference. So an older memory has got in the way, it's interfered with the new memory. Okay, Kepler and Underwood 1962 demonstrated proactive interference, recalling consonant trigrams after different intervals. Proactive interference occurs as forgetting increased after each interval, but no forgetting occurred at the beginning. So what this is saying is that they remembered the words at the start, they remembered the first trigram, right? And we remember trigrams from looking at duration of short-term memory, so 3 random letters, all right? So they didn't forget them at the start, but as there were more and more that have been filled up in their memory, they were starting to get interference. So some later on in the memory test were interfering with the start ones, and they couldn't differentiate between the two. Hopefully that makes sense. Quite a simple experiment, but does prove how constant learning, the learning at the end, gets interfered with the ones at the start. Okay, retroactive interference. This occurs when a newer memory conflicts with an old one. So you've just got to find a way of remembering which way around it is. Okay, retro, is maybe the way to remember this with regards to it's the newer memory with the old one. So when something's retro, it's conflicting with the old one. So you're conflicting with your old tracksuit bottoms or your old pair of shoes. For example, a teacher learned names of students this year, which interferes with memories of names learned last year. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so maybe in class we'll try and think of a few other ones if we don't quite understand it, but the stuff that we learn now will interfere with the stuff that we've learned before. All right, so it's the other way around. Muller demonstrated retroactive interference. List of syllables are given to participants while doing a task. Describing a painting while recalling a list causes retroactive interference. That's it. Muller demonstrated it. Okay, so the experiments into similarity, and what we're looking at here is when memories are the same and they're quite close together in the sense of, you've maybe fell off your bike twice, then those memories might merge and you might get retroactive interference. Right? That's the kind of the broader thing. We just spoke about teachers remembering kids' names, so that kind of thing. But this is a good experiment and it explains it. So participants are to learn a list of 10 words with 100% accuracy. So here is a list, learn it. Okay, and it would take them 10 minutes, whatever, 15 minutes until they could do it with complete accuracy. They definitely learned this list. And that's the start. Everyone did that. Then the participants were split into 6 groups who were asked to learn a different type of word. So this is where the IV is. They've all learnt a list for sure. Then they split into one of 6 groups who were asked to learn a different word list, so a secondary word list. These were the six independent variables that you could go into. Right? So synonyms, words with the same meanings as the first list. Autonyms, words with the opposite meanings to the first list. The examples, what would it be? So I might have huge, large, big in the first list, and then in my second list, massive, blah, blah, blah for synonyms, whereas an autonym, the opposite of huge, it would be small, tiny, blah, blah, blah. So then we're thinking there's still going to be some interference because they're still similar in some ways. 3 was completely unrelated words, so a list of completely unrelated words. 4 was nonsense syllables, so things that make no sense whatsoever. 5 was 3-digit numbers, so not even words that are 3-digit numbers, and 6 had nothing, so they didn't have a secondary list. Now these are put in the order in which the results were found. The results suggest that when a participant recalls the first list, their performance depended on the type of the words in the second list. The worst recall was observed when the words list were the most similar. So actually, if you were in group 1, when asked about the first list again, you were the worst. You actually only got 1 or 2 of the first list right. Autonyms, you would get 2-ish. 3 unrelated words would be just over 2. Nonsense syllables would be between 2 and 3 that you get right. Numbers, you're up to 3 and 4, and actually none, they were able to get up to nearly 5. So that's the AO1. What it all shows, hopefully go back, make sense of it. Similarity you need to understand, proactive interference and retroactive interference. All right, go team.